Keep all this to heavy is the head. I see the boat throwing. I'm too full with it. I gotta keep going. Kobe with the wins. You niggas just Ginobili. You winning only cause of me. Let's keep the ball rolling. No disrespect, Slim. Where is your check, Slim? Welcome back to another episode of the You Weren't There podcast. I'm, of course, your host at Mia Was Here, 5 underscores. And we got a good one for you today. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves and we're going to go ahead and get started. Esan.
All right. My name is Esan, the producer. I am obviously a producer, audio engineer, and composer. I mainly focus on creating music for TV and film in sync.
It's just like you practiced it. It's great. Dre.
What's up, y'all? I go by the name Pac-Man Dre. For y'all that don't know, I'm a singer songwriter from Washington, D.C. I do all different types of music, R&B and neo soul mostly.
I love it. So this is, kind of where we give our guests an opportunity to give themselves their flowers, right? To give us the road that you took to get exactly where you are now, your journey. Dre, we're going to start with you. Like, how you get your start? How you get here?
Man, I don't know. I've been doing it for a minute. I started singing when I was 7 years old. So it really kind of started in the church and things like that. At a young age, I got to see certain things that really kept me going with this music shit. I got to be on BET at a young age with the church and stuff like that with Bobby Jones Gospel. Even connected with a couple famous gospel singers like Ty Tribbett and things like that. Most definitely. Always gotta get the glory to God. But it just really let me see a lot of things at a young age that I'm glad that I got to see. That I can go far with what I'm doing basically. Yeah, and just to have inspirational people in my life to show me those things as well.
Okay. When you start off in the church, right? Because I did too, right? I think there's a lot that could come of that. I truly feel like some of the best musicians have started in some of the church.
For sure.
And whether that's like your understanding of like pitch, there's a level of perfection in some of these choirs and some of these bands. Like some of the greatest musicians in the world started in a church. I remember Usher's drummer, Aaron. My start with Aaron was like seeing him at like Convocation and Revival, and then next thing I knew, like he was like the drummer on like 8701. So I really like have a love and appreciation for church musicians because I feel like they are perfectionists.
Yeah.
And I think like also depending on the choir that you in, like pitch and key and like learning those things from an early age, learning how to play instruments, right?
Yeah.
Learning how to write music, learning how to build songs, like all of that can start in a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you look at kind of like the formal training that you got from the church, if there was any, like how are you using that right now?
To be honest, like during that time, like I was paying attention to like the basics and stuff. But I wasn't really getting to like all the advanced stuff. So, and I kind of fell off with it at a point in time as well. So, but I got like the basic knowledge and stuff like that. How to sing and tune, key with the choir and stuff like that. Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Esan, how you get your start? How do you end up where you are now? Because you got to have a journey under you, especially trying to help people like really get to a bag, which is hard to do these days, right?
Definitely hard.
Where did your journey begin?
So I am a saxophone player. Played the saxophone since the 4th grade. And I've been in the band since the 4th grade, marching band.
I knew you was going to say marching
band. Definitely. All that stuff. I did all the band stuff. I was a band kid. And band kid. Band kid. But so I got my start there, and I feel like I really wanted to like figure out how like the marching band music worked, because marching bands play stuff on the radio, right, from the radio. So, I figured out how to like listen to songs and then create, you know, the arrangement for the band on the radio, you know. So I think that's where I got my start in like production. Cause I mean, even though that's not music production, I'm not creating stuff from scratch. I'm like figuring out other people's songs and like creating it for trumpets and trombones and, you know. So that's kind of where I got my start and my love for like the creation of it, you know.
Which I think is huge. Like,
Yeah.
because so much of, especially Black music, is sampling.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you kind of like started in what music is anyway. Like so much, and I think like we forget when we think sampling, we always think of like what Ye was doing, right?
Yeah.
We think of like, you know, pulling these pieces of a song and like creating something brand new with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is like, when I think of sampling, I think of like Dave Grohl, who played in Nirvana.
Okay.
And I think it was Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Who was also from here. Who was from like Annapolis. And Dave Grohl talked about like the drum sample that he played in Nirvana for Smells Like Teen Spirit. And he talked about how he took the drums from the Gap Band.
Yeah, you know, I think I saw that. Yeah, I think
like,
I saw that.
He was
Yeah.
talking to Pharrell about that.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when I think sampling, like, I think of those things. Because I think it's so easy to take music and just be like, oh, through the wire, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that's most people's first.
That's like the obvious samples.
Right,
yeah.
the obvious samples.
Yeah.
But the truth is like so much of like music throughout every culture is pulled from some piece of Black music down to the way you play your drums.
Yeah.
So I think that that's fascinating, and especially coming from the church, because like the church samples too. Kirk Franklin samples secular music all the time.
True.
Dre, as somebody who like is kind of like doing his own thing in music, but like comes from that, when you think of like kind of like what you learned as far as like the principles behind church, right? And the music that you're doing right now, does it create any kind of like spiritual conflicts?
It could most definitely. But I like how I look at it is, especially like with the music I'm doing now, it's like centered and focused on love. So, I want to bring that back with music and make people feel that, or at least if they can relate to that, what I'm talking about, maybe make them feel good. It's all about making people feel better about themselves and feeling more love and things like that. So I feel like it's all about the reason you're doing it and the influence you put out there with it.
I think that's like super important, because I as a woman, like I listen to music now, and people like to act like it's just the music that's going on now, but I could take it back to like August Alsina,
okay,
who I couldn't stand. I never liked August's music. Sorry, I really felt like even as a youngin', right? I'm young listening to this, and I'm just like, this nigga don't like women. So I mean, wasn't that much of a surprise to me later on that he was gay. Like, and shout out to him for being honest with himself. But I heard that 10 years ago. Like, I'm like, this nigga don't like girls. Like, he talk about us like things and not like people. And I think like I really miss music that talked about love, that like came from a point of like honesty and compassion and depth. Like, please take them guns out them holsters and start back hiding in them bushes like for these bitches. Like, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this music that like has turned people into things. And not into like something that's loving and like something you want to invest your time in.
That's true.
But I feel like we've gotten away from that, right? We've gotten into this music that just like is like all future all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm listening to the same stuff y'all listening to, but I really miss that. Like,
it's a time and a place for everything.
Like love somebody sometimes. Like, stop acting like niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit, everybody, and they throwing a melody on it. Like, I'm so sick of that. Like, what happened to like? It's alright to be in love. You know, it's alright to be in love, right? It's alright to like care about people. It's alright to like people. I feel like we've gotten into that, and I don't think it's just music. I think like culturally. We've moved into the space of like treating people like objects.
Definitely, for sure.
And doing everything transactionally. And like, if you can't come up off this person or this instance or this occasion or this function, then like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? And I hate it. Like, I really do. Like, I feel like one of my really good friends, and I talk about him all the time, which is Nature Boy. I feel like what he's doing as far as like trying to create an atmosphere that's not just based on transaction, but that's giving people opportunities to be seen
Yeah.
and be heard
Mm-hmm.
in these environments where it's like, well, there are opportunities for you to make money,
Mhm.
right? Selling tickets, doing shows at these venues. But also, if you're just a producer that wants to be heard, come out to like
Fresh produce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yep.
if you're just an artist that wants to be heard, come out to Open Gym. There's
Mhm.
opportunity for everybody, and I really appreciate.
I like that too.
I
Mhm.
appreciate that about him, man, because I feel like I was one of those artists that like was a little bit of a dick. Dealing with Nature Boy, and that's how I know that's really my man, because we've had those
Oh,
moments where,
okay.
like I just showed up, you know what I'm saying? I ain't selling no tickets, like they supposed to just come, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't understand the opportunity that you missing
Yeah.
to really make some money
Mm-hmm.
and to
For
really
sure.
like spread your brand that way, right?
Yeah.
And I think like we in a time where like it is harder than ever to make money in music, but there are ways.
There
right?
are ways. Yeah.
There are ways, and I think a song like that's something that you specialize in, that you've been helping people with, right?
Yeah.
So I want
Yeah.
to talk about that today, right? I want to
Okay.
talk about how you get into sync licensing. What is that, and like what you can do to kind of like push that forward? Because I don't know as much about it, and I'm sure I have people that watch this show that don't either. So
Okay.
like, give us the breakdown, man. Like if you had to teach like sync licensing 101, what does that look like?
So I would say the first thing is, even though it's about the music, it's not necessarily like only about the music. You know what I mean? And I think that's what people get hung up on the most, because, you know, you could be like a really, really great artist, or you have like a really clean sound, or whatever it is. But like sometimes that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because you're creating music to just like capture a feeling. You know what I mean? And not really like give off your lyrical ability or your vocal talent or singing. Like I could do runs all day. Like it's not necessarily about that. That's kind of what like the regular industry is about, but it's not really about, you know, not about that, you know.
That was a great starter.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to like break out of that like immediately, especially if you're like an artist, you know what I mean? And like you're like really in music and you're performing and all that stuff. Like sync licensing is more like creating a product and selling a product. Like I'm creating a hat and I'm going to sell the hat, and I'm just going to keep creating that same hat, and I'm going to keep selling that same hat.
And every product has a target audience.
Exactly. So, and the target audience is the show, you know, or well, at the end user is the show, but you know, you can get it to music supervisors or music libraries or sync agents. That's kind of like your vehicle to get it to the show.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah.
Okay, I feel that. All right, so you creating something with the end goal of getting it on a show.
Yeah.
But you need like a theme almost.
True.
Okay.
True. And I think another thing that people get hung up on a lot is the theme, right? Because you don't necessarily know unless you're like really deep into it and like you have a name for yourself and like people are reaching out to you like, hey, I'm starting a new show, I need some music. You know what I mean? Like unless you're like there, you kind of don't know where your music is going to go. So, you know, you can create a theme of I don't know, like a love song, but it might wind up on a real estate show. You know what I mean? Like you don't know where it's going to go.
Right.
And you have to be okay with that.
So you
know,
gotta be able to like kind of vary your tone.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Like being ambiguous, being like very general, not saying like very specific, like lyrically, not saying like really specific words.
Like
that will
versatile.
get you more. Yeah, being extremely like universal. That's what it's really about.
Okay.
You know, because you're capturing the feeling. Not they're not saying your lyrics are the best. They're saying you captured this feeling, and that's what I like.
And when I watch shows, like so much of like the music that I listen to on those shows, it like has a vibe that kind of sits on its own before the words even come.
Yeah.
So like the music kind of fits the atmosphere, and that is always kind of the introduction
Exactly.
into like whatever that scene is going to
Exactly.
be. The lyrics come later, and then also you gotta think they're not really playing like the whole thing. They cutting that thing into pieces.
That's true.
So they might play a piece of this verse, and then get into the hook, and then play a piece of another verse. So it's not necessarily all congruent.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
focusing on that is seemingly dangerous.
So like when you're creating the songs or whatever, you're not really like, you're not making a song for the radio or for Spotify or whatever like that. You know, like sometimes you might have, I mean, of course there's like, you know, a structure to it or whatever, but like you might have like a verse and then a hook and then like something completely different, you know, just to get more variety for whoever's editing the song. You know what I mean? Like they're only going to take 10 seconds or 30 seconds or, you know, so like if the first verse sounds like the second verse, it's kind of just wasted space. You know what I mean? Cause like, I got the first verse. I don't need, you know, I don't need it to sound the exact same way. You know what I mean? So it's a different way of thinking. And I think that's the harder part of the whole thing, as opposed to like finding places to get it. I mean, that's difficult too, like finding libraries and stuff and like places to spread the music. But I think the hardest part is just kind of shifting your mindset to like make the kind of music that people want to use on TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if I have a song and I feel like, no, this is like the vibe, the energy that could work in this kind of situation. Right? How do I get connected to somebody?
So Google it's a good tool, but it's also like hard to navigate. You know, you get a whole bunch of like spam stuff and a whole bunch of ads and, you know, so I mean, it's tough. I know I started off with Google, and then I think it wasn't until like I signed my first contract, I realized the library that I signed with, like they have all the answers right there. Like, so the first library that I signed with was BMG Production Music, right? And in that big library, there's like a whole bunch of small, they call them labels. And all of those labels are the people that you can talk to send your music to. You know, like you don't have to create your own label. You know, you can say, you can go down the list. It's in alphabetical order. Start with the A's and be like, hey, I got music. Oh, not you. All right. B, I got music. You know what I mean? And you can just go down the list, because you're not necessarily going to sign directly with BMG Production Music with like one song or, you know, like, but you can send, yeah, you can send one song to a library. Well, probably don't want to send one song, but you know, you can send your few songs that you really think can go somewhere to a library, and they might be a little bit more accepting of it, you know.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, Dre, right? If this is you, right? You getting ready to like try to get your song sync license, which I feel like songs that deal with like love and emotion are always kind of the ones that I look into, right? What do you feel like your introductory songs is like? If I could get a bag off of this, what's your top 3 that you created, that you proud of, that you given to this type of energy to?
So right now I got a lot of unreleased music I'm working on right now. So I'll have to say some of those for sure. It's a song me and my partner Valley Benzo working on called Strings to My Heart. I feel like that can be placed in a lot of different shows, movies, and things like that. Another one that's actually out right now called Secrets. I feel like that could be like fit a lot of different things as well. I was had to get the sample cleared for that one, but yeah, I feel like it's relatable. When I made Secrets, that was during the time I was done with a lot of like they call it pain music. So I feel like I was sharing like my pain on the track during that time and how I was coming out of that. So I feel like it's a lot of people out there that can relate to that as well, and it's a lot of shows that center around that as well. So most definitely.
Do you feel like you're the kind of person where you maybe create some of your best work when you like going through something, or like are you creating your best work after you've kind of gotten out of it, you've dealt with it, you feel from it, and now you like kind of in the learning phase? Because I know some people like they got to be going through hell to create anything.
Yeah.
Like
I feel though for me it's both. And when I say that, it don't have to be in anything bad. I can be going through something good. You know what I'm saying? I can be falling in love or something. You know what I'm saying? And just want to write about it and things like that. So whether it's good or bad, I feel like when I'm going through that, it really does inspire me.
okay, I see that. I see that. So like when you look at like kind of like the best places for you to write, like because I was the type of person like my favorite place to write was in my car. I just feel like that's where all the best shit comes from. I can't explain why, but to this day, like I feel like all the songs I'm proudest of, like I wrote them in the driver's seat of my car. Right? What's your favorite place to like when you look at like kind of your favorite songs, like the song that you like, nah, this one was one of the ones, whether a million people heard it or not. Where your favorite place to write?
Probably the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie.
For real?
That's what's up.
It's crazy, but yeah, probably the bathroom. I don't roll a lot of hits in the bathroom. I feel though. Yeah.
Toilet, shower, what are you talking about right?
Just in the bathroom, the shower, for sure, shower, toilet, in the bathroom, general.
Like,
you gotta keep it real, man.
You're wow.
You gotta keep it real.
When you look at like, if you're talking about like you love songs, what are like kind of like what's your top, let's say 5? Top 5 love songs all time, any generation, don't matter when, but you got to give me your top 5.
I have to go Jagged Edge. What's the name of that joint?
How's your top 5? You don't know the name.
I'll just fuck.
Come on, Dre. How it go? I can tell you the name. You tell me how it go.
Oh yeah. When I like the anniversary joint too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Tony.
Okay.
I like that one, and what else? Pause love song. Was like Charlene a love song? Anthony Hamilton.
I think that counts.
Yeah,
love song.
I would
it's
count
like
that.
Losing Love.
Yeah.
Charlene count.
Yeah, I like that song a lot.
I need that one.
What else?
That's your 3. Need 2 more.
We gonna go Chris Brown. Excuse me, miss.
Really?
What, yo? That's a love song.
It is, but like
I feel like that was like that.
Not for that video.
Maybe not the video.
Yeah,
probably not the video, but the song.
I feel like I would love it like that.
Yeah.
I feel like the song's really relatable. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good song. At this,
That's a good like 8th grade sock hop jump right there.
Yeah.
When you had your first dance, your first kiss.
Type shit. Yeah.
Okay. I get you. All right. Last one.
You got me on the spot with that one.
Yeah, that's disappointment. I could name my top 5, not even blink.
Shoot, I don't know if I could.
It's a lot of songs.
I feel like I'm a playlist person though.
Okay.
So I listen to like a lot of I add to it over time, but I listen to like it's shit that is like I listen to this all the time. I think for me it's like easier to think of stuff like that. And it's like, I have like my favorite songs right now. Like I'm a big Coco Jones fan.
Okay.
And I feel like that on site train is crazy.
True.
And so like that's what
Coco be snapping.
She's like that. I love Coco Jones. Come on the show, baby. Like, come on, like stop doing these interviews with these men who don't care about you. Like, go talk to a real one. Like, I love Coco Jones though, and I feel like her EP was like probably one of the best projects that year. It won a Grammy. It should. She won 2. And it should have like. She smoked with that EP. That was probably one of the best projects I heard this year, and it wasn't even an album. I venture to say the EP was a little better than the if I had to. But it's hard when you like make less songs on an EP.
True.
Like, and especially like when you're not necessarily expecting this to do anything. There's a lot of pressure on a first album when you won 2 Grammys on an EP.
Yeah,
I think
that's a good point. That's a good point.
For real. Like, and I remember like, cause I really was like watching her. Cause I feel like not all of these girls can sing like that, especially not when you take off all of the studio work. And Coco is somebody who like really got talent. And so I watched like a lot of that journey, like after that first EP came out and after she won those Grammys. And I remember originally that album was supposed to come out when the 3rd season of Bel Air came out. Because I think what she realized was like the promotion from the show could help. Yeah. And so I remember like that album was supposed to have been out. It was like a year late. So I was kind of curious about why. So I was kind of watching the progress. And, you know, normally people put like a couple singles and then they'll go ahead and put the album out. She had put out like 4 singles. None of them were really like, you know,
I didn't even realize that.
Like that. Yeah, because it was like that joint. It was that Most Beautiful Design with Future, which was frankly it's terrible. It's the worst song on the album. And I love that album, but it's the worst joint on it. Mostly because I think that she like was so concentrated on having a Future feature that like she let him kind of do whatever he wanted. And it was like more Future song than it was Coco. And I get the pressure of that too.
That's tough. Like,
you got this huge artist with this huge resume and these big hits. You want them to like give you one of those. You want them to be able to give you a hit. But I think like what that situation with Coco showed me is like, no, you gotta be yourself. You gotta like put your you gotta
fight
down.
through that.
You gotta fight through that because not every feature turns into a mega hit. And sometimes you just like let somebody occupy space on your album that you didn't need. To me, that Most Beautiful Design is the worst song on that album. And it's mostly Future. The nigga's rapping like 38 bars and she's got like 10 bars. It's crazy. I was listening to him on the way here. And I was just like, this nigga been rapping for like 3 minutes. Like, what is this? And it wasn't great. Like, you want him to like to give you that big feature, right? What Drake used to be back in the day. Like, you knew if this nigga was on it, it was gone. But sometimes like you sacrifice the credibility or the integrity of a song doing that, right? Which I think is like a good thing for like upcoming artists to hear. You know, sometimes like you go out your way, like this nigga need 50,000 for a feature, right? You scramble this shit up to get this nigga on your album, and this is ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't. I think like you gotta like be focused on just creating a great product because these features are not going to save you.
Not at all.
Exactly. And then it was them. It was that Sweep It Up joint, and then it was that Taste joint. And now On Sight is kind of like the one. But that's like 5 singles on an album. You got to think of that in context. Right? You know who had like 6, 7 singles on an album? Don't Be Cruel, Bobby Brown. And all of those was hits. So when you think of it like that, right? You put out 4 or 5 singles on an album and none of them really do much. When you put out that many singles on an album, usually those are all hits. Right? Bobby had Tenderoni, Don't Be Cruel, Rock With You, you know what I'm saying? Every Little Step. Like when you putting out that many singles, it's because they going crazy. And typically you don't use that many songs unless they all going nuts. That's a lot of space to occupy to like just be putting stuff out.
And you expose your album too prematurely.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
definitely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I watched that situation like unfold. Okay, it was supposed to have been out, right? Because now we about to be on season 4. Bel Air comes out in the summer. Right. So the album was supposed to be out almost a year ago. Right. All right. So your album date came and went. And then I'm watching these singles, right? I think was kind of like the biggest one of all the singles. Beautiful Design came and went. Sweep It Up kind of came and went. It was like, I think more of a momentary thing because she had videos and stuff associated with it. That Taste joint kind of came and went. So you giving away like all the bulk of the album for stuff that ain't really hitting. Right? And then I remember she did the interview with Breakfast Club. And the nigga Charlamagne, you know, he's a dick anyway. But I remember this nigga saying, like, you know, your label don't care about you, right?
Oh, I think I saw a clip of that. I think I did see a clip of that. Because they had given them the album, like those Breakfast Club interviews at like 8 in the morning. They gave them the album at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's what it was.
So the
I remember seeing that.
To really listen to it, right?
Yeah.
And so they were talking about that. And I know she's been talking about that about the tour. The thing is, the tour is going crazy.
Oh,
Because
that's
I think
good.
like that's the thing when you build an organic fan base.
Mhm.
You got a very organic fan base,
That's what
which
it's
is always
about.
my encouragement to like artists.
Yeah.
Right? You need to go out here. You need to do shows. Some of this shit you got to do at grassroots.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to continue to build on that fan base, to continue to put out product, whether that's music, whether that's merch, whether that's shows, whether that's events. You got to continue to build on that organic grassroots fan base, because if you do it right, they will follow you.
Yeah.
Genuine
Coco is going
fans.
crazy on tour.
Yeah.
Not because she had this uber successful #1 album, but because like she has fans that are really tapping in. And the album is good. You just gotta dig a little deep. You know what I mean? It ain't like the EP where it was like, man, the first joint crazy, second joint crazy, number 3 crazy, number 4 crazy. You gotta go a little deep for that.
Yeah,
But I
for
think
sure.
that's the benefit of like building your fan base. Because your fan base will listen to your whole album.
Yep.
Whereas people who like not really fucking with your music, not really fucking with you, that's how you get a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you get a JB Block Boy, right? You get, for real.
Yeah,
you got this one
yeah.
humongous song that goes nuts.
Yeah.
And then when you put out an album, people don't want to hear those other 12 tracks.
Not at all.
Right? So like if you build an organic grassroots fan base, they will listen to that whole album. And that is what gives you the opportunity to have bigger hits later on.
Yeah.
Because you got people that will really listen to that shit. Most people like, you know, OG Mako, right? That's what ruined everything. You know, God bless OG Soul. But like you have this one big hit and now you putting out this other music that is potentially as good as that first one, maybe better. Yeah. But they don't care because they not listening to you for that. It don't sound like that first big joint fucking with it.
That's true. That's
so,
true.
Like, for real, like I say this all the time to artists, man, like you need to be tapping in with the other artists in your area. So often artists want to work vertically. You want to, like, you don't want a feature from that amazing singer in the neighborhood, right? You want a Coco Jones feature, for example. Yeah. Right. But I think the truth is like working across is imperative.
And that's actually a big thing in sync. They say that all them little conventions and stuff I go to, they're like, I don't know why you talking to the people on the stage. Like your whole network is sitting with you. You know what I mean? Like you could do a whole lot of stuff with everybody. You might be sitting next to somebody that you need, and you just need to talk to them because you don't know what they have to offer.
I'm telling you, like
most definitely.
Yeah.
Them piano keys that you missing that could make those melodies better. Like those drum patterns that you missing because your drums not hitting like they supposed to. Like that might be in your local church. That might be right in your neighborhood. Like that might be somebody that you saw at a show.
That's what it is.
And that might be somebody that you met at Fresh Produce. It's so much potential in building not just like your music, but also like your palette.
Yeah.
Because you have different types of artists from different genres that can add so much to your music. Right? There's so many like rock or blues or jazz or pop elements. Like so much of Kendrick's music is jazz. Whether people realize that or not. Right? The way like when you listen to like Duckworth is a jazz song. They could have put Duckworth and Sinners and it would right on in. Right? Like Kendrick's music is really based on blues and jazz. So there's so much that you're missing in how you could like build your sound, be better, grow. And you're not tapping into these other resources. And some of that is like, I think people feel like your shining could dim my light. And I think
maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
Like that. I think like I've watched so many artists who were like huge at one point in time in this area just like disappeared. And so much of it is not because they're any less talented than they ever were. It's because all of their opportunities to shine were overshadowed by their fucking ego. And they missed their opportunity to be the best of themselves because when they had people around them that could have helped them like move into that next round, they was so fucking focused on themselves. Yeah, that's true. I watched a lot of y'all fall off like that, for real. Like, that's true. You got to do better. Like, it's tap into the people next to you. Tap into those artists at them open gyms. Like tap into the artists at them open mics. Like tap into them artists at them karaoke. Tap into the artists at the big ass barbecue or like whatever it is. It was an R&B party today. Shout out to Malcolm X, man, because he hit me about it. It was a R&B day party that downtown this week at was Bullpen, right? You don't know who you connecting with when you go to these type of functions.
This is true.
Because this area is like I look like Amber Rain, right? So I did a career day, right? like a couple months ago, my boy Jay Flow. Shout out to him because he'll be on here in a couple of weeks. And I just did it because Jay is my boy, and you want to like help these kids understand their options.
Yeah.
And me personally, like I did music for a long time and got into some other arenas in music as far as like being able to do commercials and make some real money. But my day job is I'm an accountant.
Nice.
So
yeah.
So I'll be wanting kids to understand, like, stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean. Like, it's other, you good at math, you good at science, you got other skills. Like, it's other stuff that you could do. You don't have to like hoop and rap. Like, it's nothing wrong with any of that because I did it too. But just to say, like, you have options. And when I was at that career day, I met Amber Rain, who just did the production assistance for Roots Picnic this past week.
Oh wow!
So you just don't know who you like just for showing up for people, right? Just from shaking hands and making friends. Jay is just one of my homies. I used to do music with him too. You go to this random ass career day, and now you meeting like this huge production assistant. Yeah. And I watched her like go crazy on this show. I was in a clothing store in Philly one time and met the guy who runs like Fits from the Streets, which is like a huge fashion platform. Like, you don't know who you know what I'm saying? Like, get your fucking head out of your ass. Like, get your ego out of the way and start building with these people, right?
Facts.
Because you're going to make a mistake every time thinking you can do all the shit by yourself.
Yeah, and you really can't. You can't.
You can't, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
Shake some hands, go meet some people. I don't like going outside neither.
I don't either.
I get it. I hate going outside. I hate it. I hate going outside. I use Instagram as my outside. I put all the guests on this show. I hate outside.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta. You know what I'm saying? Because like you need to meet the people that can help advance your career, and that's not just other artists or instrumentalists. That's also the team that you need to be building. Yeah, right. Yeah, you need photographers to maybe take you to the next level, or videographers. Like, and you got people who are like geniuses at these levels of the craft at what they do, and can help you build your mission without interfering in it. Exactly. I always feel like groups in this area never work because niggas' egos be too big. Yeah. You was too good for it. You was too big for it. Too important for it. Too fly for it. And where the fuck is you now? Yeah. Nowhere. I mean, that's a part of putting in the work. I think it's important. Yeah. Right? I think it's important to like lower your ego, increase your acumen, and realize like the geniuses around you and other things. Yeah. One of the previous guests on the show said that he was like, it's somebody somewhere that like creates content to help you make commercials for your music. Love doing that shit, is great at it, and that's all they want to do. Yeah, they don't want to be in the spotlight. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to be. And that's me. I'm Mr. Background. Don't ask me to like. This is special. You know, that's why I'm here. But I'm normally in the background. You're not gonna hear my voice too much. I'm telling you, like, I love backgrounders. Really, like, we had Sean on last week, man. Shout out to Sean Minotti. Shout out to Cupset. Shout out to Cupset Monte, man. And Sean is more of a background guy, also a producer. I feel like a lot of producers are background. like guys that just kind of like to be in the cut. You know what I'm saying? I think that's like, those are my favorite producers. Yeah. I love Timbaland, but those are my least favorite kind of producers. Please don't get in here shaking around trying to be. Yeah. It's shaking on my nerves. Like, Tim can do that. Beat Tim. But you niggas don't beat Tim. Like, stop shaking your shoulders and shit. Like, getting on my nerves with that shit. Like, calm down and play the back like you're supposed to. I miss those producers back then. You can't tell me a single producer on a Rick James album, can you? No, you can't. Yeah. Because you don't remember them niggas, but they getting money. That's true. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I think niggas gotta like stop focusing on being the star and focus on getting some money, man. Which is why this sync licensing thing.
Fly is clout too, as well. Everybody want clout and stuff like that. So much. Want to be known for everything.
This clout chasing shit has gone insane. I feel like so much of that takes away from the craft too, right? Like, it does. Are you focused on being seen, being heard, or like being a star, or like really creating something great?
For sure.
And I feel like so often people will sacrifice the integrity of a thing, right, in order to like get seen first. And I feel like that backfires far too often for people to continue to follow that formula. Yeah. And maybe you a little pump and you have like one or two really big hits, and maybe that funds your life, or maybe you the real little pump and you have two big hits and you ruin everything trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to focus on being the face of something as opposed to like being the best of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I think, like the whole shooting your shot thing nowadays is like 100 shots, and you shoot 100 shots and you get like one or two. Like that's cool, but like if you actually like sat at the free throw line by yourself and like practice shooting, you won't have to shoot 100 to get one or two.
For sure.
That's the thing.
It's a lot of jacking ass niggas.
Yeah.
These days. Like, and I mean, I get it, right? Like, I think most careers are volume based. I think like I work in an arena. I work in healthcare. Healthcare is volume based, right? You need a certain amount of patience to stay functional.
True.
And not to get too deep, right? Because that shit is boring. But the bottom line is like, in any particular arena, if you focus more on how much of these like clients or fans or customers that you get, and not necessarily like what you're giving them, what you forget is like it's very easy for them to just hate this thing and then go somewhere else to try to get it.
That's true.
You're not going to give people something good. They will find somebody else to give it to.
That's true.
And that's in everything, especially in music, right? There are like Bobby Brown was the biggest singer in the world between his second and third album, and then was a flop every album after that.
True.
It happens. It happens to the best. Like Whitney Houston was the 7 number 1 singles in a row. The first woman in history to ever do it. 7 number 1s in a row. And 10 years later, like, might as well come back on the Oprah show. You just like, you gotta continue to like serve good product. And motherfuckers can say what they want about like a Kendrick or Drake or Cole, but there's a reason why these guys are at the top of the food chain. And it's quality products. Whether you believe in the sincerity of that product, it's a whole another conversation I'm not gonna get into. Like this shit every week, but like quality product makes the difference. And as much as I might think that maybe Drizzy in particular lacks some integrity, I think the lawsuit is proof. I think the quality of the product that he gave us for 15 years, it speaks for itself. You might not like none of the shit. Ye is the same way. You might not like none of the shit that Ye is doing right now. But the genius and quality of the product for the first 15 years of that, the legacy gets cemented.
Exactly. You can't knock that.
I don't like none of the shit that Ye got going on right now. And I feel like we give far too much energy to his genius and not enough to his current character. But at the end of the day, like the reason why people continue to love, to believe, to support, to fanboy, and to believe in a person, even when all of their current actions are showing something different, is because the legacy is that real. The genius was that real. Like,
that's true.
The product was that good. Like, now granted, everybody's selling crack. That don't make it all right. Even if the rock is great. But at the end of the day, like, I do think that there's something to be said for artists whose albums last lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? Because when I think of like my favorite R&B songs, a lot of that shit is not current.
No, it's not.
And I'm listening to everything.
But
when I'm thinking of my favorite love songs, I feel like it's like Mint Condition that come to mind. Teddy Pendergrass that come to mind. And then Shaka Khan that come to mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? The whole reason why Through the Wire went crazy for Ye is because everybody already knew it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like the reason these samples hit the way they hit is because you know that shit. And it reminds you of how you felt when you heard that shit.
And it brings in like the older crowd too, because they remember the original song, and it's like,
that nostalgia works.
It works.
It sells millions. Like, at the same time, some of these samples be ass. I can't remember who it was, but somebody had sampled like Aaliyah, and I was just like, this is the worst shit. How could you do this to her? But I can't remember who it was because the song was so bad. I feel like
it was a rapper.
Yeah,
a lot of rappers are sampling like the singing songs now. Stuff like that.
I don't love it. I don't love it. But sometimes it's great. Like Pop Smoke did. I used to love Cheers to You by Player, which is what Pop Smoke sampled on Diana, which is my joint. Like, I'm a big like 90s like 2000s
Yeah.
R&B person. Like that's what I think of. Like my shit is Donnell Jones, John B.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm gonna sit around and listen to when I'm cleaning my house. You know what I'm saying? My mom will listen to Anita Baker. I'm listening to Aaliyah when I'm in the house. And I feel like the reason why the music stands the test of time, because that's old school to these kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's old school to them. But the reason why that music still works the way that it works, even as far as sampling, right, is because of the timelessness of it. And I just feel like when I look at the landscape of music now, is there gonna be like sampling? Like, is any of this shit gonna be classic enough to be sampling 20 years from now?
They might.
That's a good point, for sure. I feel like if you're gonna sample, at least like do your research as well. You know what I'm saying?
What was the original like sentiment of that song?
Yeah.
Please don't take no Aaliyah song and be talking about shooting up the block. Like, don't ever. You're pissing me off. Like that. We gotta like. I feel like, and you don't have to keep like the same sentiments of the song, but you at least need to know what they were.
Yeah, like understand.
Understanding what the vibe was. Don't be coming here fucking up the vibe like with your like fucking Anita Baker sample of like killing niggas. Like, stop. Like you get on my nerves.
Destroying the song, basically.
You was destroying the memory I have of this shit.
Hey,
you love Kanye's Through the Wire because like wow, completely different from Shaka Khan's version. It isn't something that like destroys the sentiment of the original idea.
Yep.
And I feel like songs that don't, I say the same about Diana with Pop Smoke and Play It. Like, if you destroy the original sentiment of the song, even though you're entitled to create something totally different, I feel like it ruins something.
Especially such a like classic or song, and it's like there's so much already for you to take it. Like, nah, it's not a good idea.
I don't like it. Like, I don't like it. Like, I actually was in speaking of Coco Jones, she did a Britney Spears sample, right? It's called Taste, which is a sample of Toxic.
Oh yeah. Right? Okay.
So I was like, I thought that joint was gonna go crazy. Like I was kind of surprised, like that Taste
Toxic went crazy.
Toxic went crazy.
Yeah.
Britney Spears, like
Toxic went crazy.
I know, like we only know the Britney Spears like under the conservatorship, like she was out here, like what? Britney Spears was the biggest artist in the world at one point. There is a reason why her family was able to take advantage of her money for so long, because it lasted that long. Britney Spears was like, and you're talking about somebody that came from the pop boy band era. They were being taken complete and total advantage of by like the Lou Pearlmans of the world, right? He wasn't a shitty manager that was just out here robbing people. Like, for those of y'all that don't know, right? I'm a historian when it comes to this shit, right? So if you know who like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, all them goofy motherfuckers were before Justin Timberlake was, can you know?
Pharrell joint,
So Lou Pearlman was the manager of NSYNC, right? I'll tell you what this fucker did. So this nigga, in their contracts, he made himself the sixth member of that band, so he could collect checks from the group. Put that in their contracts and never realized it. And even once they got out of that contract, he was still the sixth member of that group until they broke up. That's a part of the reason why they decided to separate.
Wow.
That's the kind of shit that goes on when you're not paying attention to your contracts. That's what I tell y'all every week. That you need to have some representation or somebody that knows legalese when you're looking over these deals. If you get a sync licensing deal, if you're fortunate enough to do something like that and they want you to sign something over, you need to have somebody glance over that paperwork.
Yeah, definitely.
Because people own your shit in perpetuity, which is forever, and like they now all of a sudden this show is like going into like, what do they call it?
Syndication,
right? A show going like a show like Seinfeld, right? It's old as shit and I never even watched it, but I know it's still on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like you have these shows from 20, 30 years ago that are now syndicated and now they on these streaming services. So the people that own the rights to these things getting paid every time they get played. Friends is still one of the most popular things on streaming services from like 20 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So now you got people who might be watching this episode 2 million times over. Your song is getting played in it 2 million times over. You're supposed to get something out of it. And you get taken advantage of if you don't know your business, if you're not on top of your shit.
And
people taking advantage of you in music is not a new concept. It's actually probably the most it's the thing you can count on most.
Yeah, I think it comes with the territory.
It comes with the shit.
Yeah,
you can
definitely.
count on somebody
Yeah.
trying to fuck you over if you're doing music.
Yeah.
So you need to know your business or have people around you who
Mhm.
know business. And this is why I say about working across, right? You might got a friend who like getting ready to go to law school.
That's true.
Literally,
true.
like one of the members of my church, shout out to Tiffany. She just graduated from Temple like 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
Like you going to church with these people, in these functions with these people, know these people who might be able to help you. Like if I know Tiffany, like, hey Tiffany, I'm getting ready to sign this. Can you look over this contract for me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you need to like work with the people that are
Most
around
definitely.
you so that you do not get taken advantage of. Because you be thinking these are just one-time opportunities.
Yeah.
And you fuck them all up. I'm gonna give y'all another good example, right? So I'm a big fan of BMF, right? Which is back
Okay.
now.
Yes.
Me and my baby was watching that show the other day. It was good too. Somebody came and took 5 minutes. Do better. But was watching BMF yesterday, right? I remember last year, the season premiere. There was a song in BMF when Lala first walked into the gym, when Terry first saw it.
Okay.
It was called You With Me. And I loved it, right? And I remember posting on Twitter, like, who is this? Like, where is this song?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I asked DJ Heat about it, right? Because DJ Heat is the homie.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, I don't know. I'm trying to find it, right? Shazam did. I'll Shazam anything. That's another thing. If you're a new artist, man, you need to get a Shazam, man. Because honestly, like, if people don't know who the fuck you are, they need to have a way to find you.
Yeah.
So, like, make sure you know what I'm saying, you got your shit together so that people don't know you, they can find you. Get out of your ego and pretending like everybody should know who the fuck you is. You ain't nobody.
Yeah.
You need to make yourself somebody, and that's one of the ways that you can do that, right? So I Shazam the joint, couldn't find it, was asking all the DJs I knew, who is this? What is this song? Right?
Yeah.
Went on X, and the music supervisor from BMF told me, like, oh, we got something in the works for that. Don't worry, information will be out next week. First of all, you arrogant dickhead. The opportunity that you caused this guy to miss.
Yeah. From
his song not being available for people to access on a season premiere of a huge television show is an era of epic proportions. You should have lost your fucking job on this shit.
No, for real.
And then it was like another 2 or 3 months before that song was on streaming platforms. The song wasn't even on streaming platforms when he put it on that show. Now, granted, that shit like that is the responsibility of an artist.
Yeah,
and this is why I say you need to have your shit together. Why it's helpful to have a team. And you need somebody around you to tell you something like that. You don't put nothing on a show that big and not have it available for people to download.
And not have your pro.
I would say
organizations, anything like that.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, people miss on that all the time. And actually, actually, if you don't have that, you really can't get in the sync at all. Like if you're not down with ASCAP, BMI, CSEC, whatever, they're gonna be like, all right, well, I'll see you when you get that.
It don't take that long.
Yeah.
Literally, all you gotta do is write the song, the writers, and what the splits are.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long to get your shit on there. Yeah. Like, you don't even have to upload the songs necessarily. Like, write the song. You could literally stop right there if you wanted to. You could just put the song name on there, who were all the writers on there, and the way the split should work.
Yeah. And I would say in sync licensing, stuff like that, at least to me, I guess from my perspective, is like a little bit lower pressure. You know what I mean? Like it's normally not a thing of like, oh, well, I did the first half of the hook, so I should get 5% for that. And I did like the snare drum towards the end of the song, so I should get a little bit of that. Normally, in like not even in a perfect world, just like in the average world, it's even splits. We're not tripping like, it's even splits. Like that's just too much to think about and like too much to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, nah, we do even splits.
Honestly, I think that's why like I always love working with like one producer.
Yeah.
I think like Ty Relington did my last couple of projects.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so he got the production and I did all the writing.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't have to debate it. Like, like he did the production, I did the writing, like we split the arrangements. Yeah. Like that's it. Like we don't gotta do all this extra shit.
And once again, like the hat scenario that I said, like if you're creating a hat, you got to know you're going to make more hats. You know what I mean? You might do different colors, you might do whatever. So like okay, you didn't get the best percentage on the one song, but like it's that's where it's more so about volume and not necessarily like this song is a hit and it's going to be on every TV show throughout the whole fall season lineup. You know, like it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It's more so like being comfortable with the fact that it's going to be even splits and being comfortable with the fact that that's not going to be your last time doing it.
For sure.
You know?
And you got to bank on that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to bank on
that's not going to be your last time doing it.
The like regularity of like that kind of workflow.
Yeah.
And you got to push yourself into like creating like kind of a consistent workflow when it comes to certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if you banking on like this one song is going to be the one, and that one song doesn't go, or you don't get the split that you thought you were going to get, it becomes very easy to get discouraged. You know?
That's happened to me a whole lot. That's happened to me a whole lot.
I think that happens to a lot of artists. Like, you have this incredible like piece of work, and you think like it's going to be the one. It's going to make it song. Like this is out of here, and then it doesn't happen. Or like you get radio play for a little while.
Yeah.
Or you're getting crazy streams for a week, and the next week, right? 80,000 new songs come out per day. So you going crazy for a week or two. And then week 3 hit, and all of a sudden you're watching these numbers slow, and then you're getting discouraged. Like, it make you feel a way about yourself. It make you feel a way about your art. Like, no, you got to keep going. Like, consistency is going to be your best friend when it comes to anything creative, but especially when it comes to music. That was always my problem. I ain't had the ability to be consistent. I just did.
It's tough.
I didn't love it. I think that's the truth.
Okay.
Like, I think you gotta really love this shit to be the last one standing.
No, most definitely. And I feel like with me, that's why I try to like not put myself in a box when it comes to. I try to make different kinds of music, different styles, different sounds, and not just try to make it, but execute it well. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like consistency and execution. Like there's nothing more important than that.
Yeah.
And I feel like as good as you may be as an artist, if you are only coming out with shit like, I think the average artist doesn't get the Kendrick luxury of coming out with shit every 4 years. I think you need to consistently be putting something.
That's true. I believe that too.
And I think like it's dangerous to see it any other way. Because the tides change so quickly.
Yeah.
In music and the algorithms and your socials that you're gonna be using to push and promote this kind of shit. Like if you are not staying consistent, there are 50,000 other artists, quite literally, that are.
Yeah.
Don't let these niggas outwork you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that is the lesson that I feel like every artist needs to learn. Like it doesn't matter how good or how talented you are.
Yeah, it never matters.
If that was the thing that mattered, I feel like music might be in a better space.
Definitely.
But it doesn't.
No.
I feel like that's how it was, though. I feel like that's how it was, though. Like a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
China was a very important back in the day. Now it's just a lot of gimmicks and stuff like that.
But you know what? Let's not. I feel like we really size like our parents, grandparents. My grandma used to play this. Not my grandma, my auntie used to play this song. "Love You Down." Ready for the World. It was the artist.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you something. That nigga was a terrible fucking singer. I don't care what you niggas say. Like some of these old school artists was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Pebbles was a terrible fucking singer. I stop playing with me. TLC, bitch. Listen, I don't want to get into it, but some of these old school artists were fucking talentless. Yeah. But these songs went crazy. They was consistent as shit. They stayed in the fight, and something happened. Yeah. Can we be real? Like, was Bobby Brown really that great of a singer? Let's keep it.
I mean,
Bobby Brown, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
You put the Browns together.
That's true.
Levels.
Yeah.
It's levels.
Yeah.
And I love Bobby. Don't Be Cool is one of the best R&B albums all time because nobody anymore has 7 flamers.
Yeah.
And even the fillers.
Yeah. And see, I think, artist development helped the talentless people build the energy needed to make the songs go. You know what I mean?
He had 10, 15 years of artist development.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say that also, like, and this is my personal opinion, opinion. from back then the day to like today's time, I feel like the songwriting was just way better. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though like a lot of singers and stuff didn't write their own music, then the people like the Quincy Jones and things like that who was writing the music and stuff like that was very talented, and it was really relatable, and it made people feel things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
100%. And like even before then, right? When you look at like the Motown era,
Yeah,
I love Motown.
Smokey wrote most of that
Yeah,
shit
Smokey Robinson.
back in the day, right? The Temptations wasn't writing them songs.
Yeah.
Smokey was writing them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even when I look back at like Marvin Gaye, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a writer on Motown before he was an artist on Motown. You know what I mean? So, and then look what he became. You know what I'm saying? Look at the legacy. Look at the legend behind it. So you just don't know what your talents and gifts are going to do for you, where they're going to take you. Like, and I think that actually is a perfect way to segue into the next segment, right?
Okay.
So we have this segment of the show. Shout out to Chaz, who's on vacation. Called "Would You Rather," right? So we're gonna start with you, Dre. Would you rather be the songwriter who gets 100% of the rights for a #1 hit, or the artist who has no rights to the song itself but can perform that huge song on a huge tour?
I'd rather get 1%.
So you rather be the writer?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Esan, what you think is better? I know you're not
same scenario.
Same scenario.
Okay.
What would you advise somebody, right? Like as somebody who's like, because I think a producer is an artist. So
Yeah.
The
Okay.
opportunity, like to be involved in a record in that type of way. What you taking? You want to be like the writer, get 100% of the rights, or would you advise an artist like, nah, take the song and tour with that motherfucker?
Yeah. Okay. If it's me, I miss the background, so I'm taking 100% because I'm not trying to perform it anywhere, right? But I guess it depends on the personality of the artist. You know, if the artist is starving for like the attention that you would get on the stage, that might really be worth it. You know what I mean? That might really like, get them going in the morning. You know what I mean?
Catapult your career.
Yeah.
I feel like there are artists who like have gone on tours and like become stars.
Exactly.
Nobody knew who they were.
Exactly.
They went on that tour and they were just like, that was their time.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you never know what thing is gonna like pop for you. You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes you just gotta try different stuff and see what sticks on the wall.
And I'm always curious about that because like when you look at Tyler the Creator, I think he was talking about how like it took his album like 2 years to go platinum or go gold or something like that. But he had one of the biggest tours of the year without having any lead singles, without having like huge radio play, really no radio play at all, right? Like what was it, Chromacopia? Without any radio play.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Any lead singles. Without and something that took him like 2 years to like sell. Biggest tour of the year. Was the only artist in history to sell out. I think it was like Madison Square Garden to sell out like 5 or 6 nights in a row.
Oh wow!
Like so, you don't know where your opportunities is coming from. You gotta know yourself as an artist too to really answer questions. Like, because you don't know. You know what I mean? Like you, Tyler, maybe it's better for you to tour with it. Than it is to get the rights to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I always like we say this all the time up here, man. 100% of nothing is nothing. So you get 100% of the rights to something and it really don't sell like that. But maybe this is the song that helps launch your tour and the tour goes crazy, right? So maybe the album doesn't do all that well. Yeah. But the tour does. Yeah. You never know. Yep. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say it's so important to like know your fan base, know who your core audience is, and to tap in with them. It is, yeah. Like I'm the type of person like, and I think this is like so weird of me. I find myself to be like such a weirdo for this, but like if like an artist doesn't let me in on their personal life, like if they not a type of person to like post and shit like that, I'm just not really that interested. Like,
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think like I'm one of those people. Yeah. Like, if you not letting me in.
Yeah, it's all surface level. Yeah, like, you can't be on the surface.
Like, what's up with it? Like, put me in the chat. Like, like you gotta do that for me now. Like artists that are just like a mystery. Now, granted, exceptions can be, but I think we're in an era now where like if you don't let people in to your personal life in some kind of way, even if it's just a little bit, I think you're less likely to be a success story.
Yeah, and I feel like that goes further, like what you talking about when you building core fans, because people don't want to just support anybody. They want to know. I mean, in the real world, people want to support mostly things. They don't want to support fucked up things or like bad things. So
Yeah.
they rather support somebody that's doing good. So if you show people what you're doing, and the world, the community, whatever you're doing, they most likely support you even more.
Yeah,
especially if it's good.
And people want to relate to you, like, you know, the things that you do. If you like pancakes, I like pancakes
For
too.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure.
But I wouldn't.
My favorite artist is like a fun like except for Queen Naja. I love Queen Naja, man. Like, I think Queen Naja for me, like, I think a big part of the reason why like she's still such a figure in pop culture because it hasn't been that much music. Is because of the fact that people really love her personality. And granted, she started as a YouTuber, and then it just
I didn't know that.
She's a hella talented artist, right?
Yeah.
So she started as a YouTuber with her shitty ex-husband Chris Sales, and I really nigga got caught like with like 3 bitches. Like, it was really,
wow,
like,
that's crazy.
Shit, like so she divorced him. She ended up doing content with this other YouTuber, Clarence NYC, and then as a result of the divorce, she started putting music out. And the music, it hit because people knew exactly who she was talking about. And that's where like things kind of went crazy. And then it was like the music and the YouTube like fueling each other. And I think like a big part of the reason why she was able to be so successful in music is because people liked her so much as a content creator. Like, no, this is a great person. Like, she's sweet, she's funny, kind of goofy. Like, she was like she really felt like an around the way good girl kind of thing. And I think people related to that so much that when the music started to come out, it just felt like, nah, I'm fucking with her as a person. And also there's this like really relatable music about having your heart broken. And people knew that it was coming from a genuine place because they had seen her life play out on YouTube. And I think like that helps. And I feel like I'm gonna say this, like, I really feel like Queen Naja helped usher in everything that we know as far as like the necessity of letting people into your life as an artist, because they got to see her life first before they even really knew that she was an artist. Because when she was doing YouTube with her ex-husband, they were doing like pranks, you know what I'm saying, like the old YouTube.
Oh wow!
So they was
I gotta check those out.
Like that. Yeah, that's how it all went bad. Like, I remember he had done a prank where it was like, he had a girl in the house. But you know, normally like when people do
like those extreme pranks you're talking about.
Like, but you know, people now when they fake like it's a girl in the house or a girl in the bed, they use like a mannequin or a wig. No, he had a bitch in the bed. Exactly. That's all exactly. You know, Chris Sales ain't shit. But I'm saying like that was where like it started with like her and their content. They was doing pranks and shit. Okay. And then, you know, there's this very public breakup because they are content creators, right? You have 1 million followers and 1 million subscribers, and you got this real public divorce. And then her next nigga was a YouTuber. So it's like, all right, like the music coincides with like what she really going through in life. People related to the music because they related to her. And I think they fueled each other. And even though there hasn't been as much music, right? Forward, like Queen Naja ain't put out an album in a brick, ain't put out a single in a brick. But she still got millions of YouTube views because of the fact that like, and I feel like when she put out an album, when she puts out music, it's those YouTube fans that's listening to it. And that don't always work. Shout out to DDG, who also put out an album, and I outsold him, which is crazy. Like, DDG put out that project, and I remember him like kind of crying on the YouTube because it got like 5,000 streams. Now that's somebody with millions of YouTube.
That's interesting.
Millions of streaming subscribers who got 5,000 downloads on an actual project. So the shit don't always work. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what does your core audience really look like? His core audience is not interested in music. Not his, at least.
That's true.
And that's the reality of this shit.
That's true.
Too. Like, you be thinking like they gonna fuel each other because there are examples of people who've been able to turn that over. It don't always go like that. Right. So like, Dre, if you are, let's say you like creating content, which I feel like is just kind of a part of the game in one way or another, right? Even if it's just like posting in your stories, which you do regularly, right? What do you feel like is the best way to kind of ensure that what you're creating as far as content is fueling your music so that the people watching you are interested in like what you have going on outside of the music, but also the music itself?
Let's keep everything organic. You know, and authentic as possible. And that could be just having someone with you on the go at all times, just recording, getting footage of day in the life things, just showing people who you are on a daily basis, what you're doing, um, your process when it comes to performing, doing shows, how do you warm up, things like that. I feel like it
Yes.
keeps the viewer engaged and lets them know a little bit more about you as well and who they're supporting.
Got you. Okay,
Hmm.
I love that. Esan, what would you advise? Like from the, because I feel like the people who are in the background, I feel like a lot of times do have the best view of like, if you try this or like if you like maybe added this to your, your situation,
Yeah.
this might help you. When you look at kind of like the artists that you've seen from the background, what do you feel like is kind of the best way to fuel what you're trying to like? And it don't even necessarily have to be content creation, but what do you
Yeah.
feel like is that advice that you would give an artist to kind of like push things forward?
I would probably say like education or like something like kind of based on showing your audience how something's happening, like how you were saying, like setting up for a show and stuff like that. That's like the type
Yeah.
of stuff that people don't really see, so they might like really appreciate more of that because maybe they're interested in being an artist, or maybe they just like to know how it all works, how it all goes together or whatever. So just kind of revealing, what's behind the curtain a little bit on, like for me, oh, I'm mixing a song and I have 50 different tracks. It doesn't sound like 50 different tracks when you hear it, but like there's 50 parts that I'm mixing together
Facts.
to make a song.
Mhm.
You know what I
Facts.
mean? And it's like,
Yep.
damn, I didn't even know it was that much. I thought it was just the beat and the vocals and some reverb, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they don't, people don't realize that. So, just kind of revealing that, and just showing them what they might not know already, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I wish we could stay here all night, guys. But, we gotta wrap it up and get up out of here, man.
Yeah.
But I really, really, honestly appreciate you guys. We had some technical difficulties.
Been a pleasure.
You guys did not get to see nothing, but I'm so thankful that these guys, were patient with me today. That they, stuck it out with me, and that we were still able to give you guys a good show, man. We're gonna go around, give y'all socials, make sure you let everybody know where they can find you. We're gonna wrap this thing up. Drake.
Y'all can follow me everywhere. And my socials is Pac-Man Dre. That's PACK_man_Dre.
For sure. Esan.
All right. You can find me at Esan the producer on everything. That's spelled ESAN the THE producer on everything.
For sure. And I am, of course, your host at Me It Was Here, 5_. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, on IG, on X, on everything.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
At You Weren't, WERENT, their podcast. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all sitting in for me. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.